Hi everyone, I hope you're doing very well. I'm here in my office and I want to let you know and introduce you with two very good friends that they are. First I have Orlando Santamaria, so he is a real estate lawyer here and closing coordinator, and in the other hand I have Alex Diaz, that he's one of the persons that if you are looking for someone to help you to manage property, well, he can help you with that, and also he does vacation rental. And I'm here and it's been a pleasure to talk to you and inform you about this interesting topic that it's about closing, about the closing cost, about the trust. So, welcome Orlando.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great.
Excellent. ¿Cómo estás, Alex? How are you?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Well, Orlando, can you tell us a little bit about the famous Fideicomiso, the famous trust, what it is?
Okay, the trust is basically a contract. A lot of people will actually be surprised. We copied that contract from the US law. We didn't have that until the 1900s. And about 1911, that was long ago, in our country we had encountered a situation that we didn't know how to deal with. And then our legislators at the time, they started using the trust, which we copied from the US, and when we adapted to our own needs, right? And then later on, we actually did start doing the trust also because our constitution forbids any foreigner to own land in the 50 kilometers from the seashore or 100 kilometers from the borderline. So this was a way to get around that in using the trust. So what did that mean? That means that the trust, it's a contract where you can actually buy a property, put it in the trust, and some people think when they hear that, like, wait a minute, I don't own the property. And I tell them, no, you do own the property. It's through a different kind of ownership. It's called fiduciary property, and it's regulated by our legislation. So.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of owners that I help manage their properties for, they usually have that question. It's one of the most common questions that I come across, and it's basically my answer to them before referring them to you is basically it's a legal formality. It's a legal instrument before the Mexican law, so they can have ownership of real estate on borderline or the seashore line. So yeah, it's very helpful for everyone watching.
Exactly. Can you please tell us about the rates that the Fideicomiso or trust has? Because I know the fees, right?
Yeah, but basically it depends on if you are creating a new trust or taking over an existing trust. That's where it changes, right? Because people sometimes they say, okay, I like this property, and then this property is already owned by a foreigner, in this case could be. And then what you need to do here is you can just take over the existing trust, so you're going to be saving around $2,000 because you're going to be saving the permit, which is the permit you have to get from Foreign Affairs. So there you probably will be paying about, for the signature, $450. It depends on the trustee, which is the bank that is holding that trust. But the rates go between $450 US and for the signature, and then just one time when you do the closing, and then $450 every year for that, for managing the trust. And then also, some people say, oh, that's very cheap. Well, yeah, because also there in the closing cost, which probably we will talk about later, it's also it has to include all the taxes, which is what sometimes brings out the closing cost.
Is there a particular bank that you'd like to work with?
I work with actually all of them. I work a lot with Bajío, I work a lot with Monex, I work with Bancomer, I work with, some people don't like to work, for instance, with Bancomer, but lately with me, at least with my files, they're always working great. Sure.
So I guess it depends on your local connections, obviously, and the type of relationship that you have with all these key people in the bank.
Yeah, you have
banking industry.
Yeah, you have to have like good relationship with the trustees, with the delegates, so you can call them if there is something, an issue, or sometimes the clients don't really know because we have to deal with all those things.
What is the percentage of the closing cost, and what are
how do you calculate it?
How do you calculate them?
A percentage, I always tell clients to imagine a worst case scenario. And
Okay.
worst case scenario, it's look at 7% over the cost of your property, right?
Okay.
So, and that's a worst case scenario because unless your property is very, very cheap, that will go up to 7 or 8%. But most of the time in properties in Jalisco, that goes probably around 3 or 4% over the price of the property. So if your property costs $200,000-$300,000, think that you will spend probably in closing costs like about 4 or 5%. Okay? 7% will be the worst case scenario. And people will sometimes say, why is it so expensive? Well, the thing is, closing costs in Mexico are expensive compared to the US or Canada, but it's a big, because our property taxes are very cheap. In Mexico, property taxes are ridiculously cheap compared to the US or to Canadian markets.
Right.
And people, when they see it, they're like, what? That's my closing cost? That's my property tax? Yeah, because you pay a lot in your closing costs.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting.
And what type of the clients that you get, Poncho and Orlando, where do they come from?
Well, I think right now most of them they come from the States. I think from the 100%, I will say maybe 40% from the States, 30% or other 40% from Canada, and the rest from Mexico.
Okay.
And Mexico, let's say Guadalajara, Mexico City, León,
Okay.
Monterrey a little bit too, that is in the north of Mexico. But it's
Your place of birth?
my place, exactly. So all the Regis come here and they have their investment property. But yes, I will say that it's 40, 40, 20, or maybe 40, 40, 15, and the little 5% is from another country, maybe from Europe, because one of my coworkers, she had a client from Czech Republic. So that he's been here just once. Yes. So I think that's kind of my percentage of clientele that I have.
Have you seen any changes in the real estate trends from 2018 to 2019?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been getting better, and actually with all the new developments too, and the new opportunities that people that they can have too, could be or a mortgage, could be maybe, or if it's a new development, you know, those monthly payments that they can do after they give the down payment, or could be that they can get an equity loan in home too. So many things I think made our market change and be more approachable for everyone, that they can have their house here in Puerto Vallarta or Riviera Nayarit too.
Yeah.
Have you been getting a lot of people from north of the bed, like in Puerto Vallarta or like Lo de Marcos or San Pancho?
Yes, actually, Bucerias is kind of the boom right now. And it's very marked. I think it's like, for example, in Vallarta, it's the romantic zone. It's number one, and then I think number two is Centro North, where is Cinco de Diciembre, where it's a new development coming up there, and very affordable prices too. And then the other jump, for what I see in my experience, is Bucerias. That is kind of the boom too, because it also has that vibe of being a fishing village, but they have restaurant, they have a live too, so it's pretty cool. And I will say that from Vallarta, it's Zona Romantica and Cinco de Diciembre, and from the north will be Bucerias and La Cruz de Guanacaste. That has that.
Yeah, I know I have seen that also that interest from a lot of the guests that are traveling to Puerto Vallarta and are finding that the romantic zone is getting more expensive every year. There's a tendency to start looking for condos to rent in either Cinco de Diciembre,
Yeah.
but they're always looking for that character, for that
Yes.
that old town feel. You know, whether it's in romantic zone, which has changed a lot.
Yeah.
And then obviously Bucerias and La Cruz also, that there's almost like a theme to the town, right?
Yeah.
To the town itself. And when people they buy something, let's say that you get clients from Canada or the US, once they sell their property, do they ask you if they can apply for some kind of exemption when it comes to taxes, or is there some kind of strategy that you suggest them to follow? Is there such thing or not?
Well,
The requirements are the same, it's just in one thing it changes. Like, for instance, a Mexican citizen can, we have a special law, special legislation for capital gains. It's called like, it will translate as capital gains law,
okay.
or law over gains, right? And so what it says on the chapter on the chapter on real estate says that every person, a Mexican taxpayer, can deduct up to a certain amount when they're selling their home. Okay, so how can they prove it's their home? Well, Mexicans can prove it with their voting card. So as long as their voting card has their name and the address matches exactly their deed, the property they're selling, they can exempt that. And the only requirements the law is telling you is, the law tells us is you need to do that you can do that every 3 years. So if you sold a house today, a home today, you cannot apply that same right in the next 3 years, okay? So you have 3 years to apply for that same right.
So every 3 years you can
Every 2 years you
apply
can
for
do it,
tax exemption.
and the exemption goes up to a certain amount. Sometimes realtors tell their clients like, oh, you can apply exemption, and so the client's idea is like, okay, I'm gonna sell my home, and it's like, it's like $500,000, and I'm just not gonna pay any taxes, and I tell them, no, there is the amount. It's the law counts it in investment units, so they call it 700,000 investment units, which translate to pesos or to Mexican currency. At the moment, it's about 4,600,000, 4,700,000, which in dollars is about 270,000, 280,000. So if you sell your home, let's say 280,000, you won't pay taxes. If you can prove, this is what I'm going next, what's the requirements for a foreigner. So for a foreigner, how can you apply to that exemption? You need to have your utility bill, whether it's a Telmex utility bill, Telmex is our phone service, or the CFE electricity bill, and you need to have attached to the electricity bill your tax ID number. So so in order for you to apply for that exemption, you need to do two things. First, you have to become a resident of Mexico. And then once you become a resident of Mexico, you can apply to get your tax number, your RFC, we call it RFC. And so with that tax number, you can insert it within the utility bill. And then with that, you need at least 5 of those utility bills. Let's say you're selling your home in March, or let's say you're selling your home tomorrow. This is August, right? So you will need to have August, July, June, and May, and April. Like all those 5 utility bills with your tax number inserted within that. Some notarios, some notaries, public notaries said, well, we can use 2, and then the three of them don't need to have it, the 2 of them need to have the RFC number, right? Inserted within. And depends on the notary, so you have to first know, like once you know which notary you're closing, you need to check that with the notary yourself, which is part of my job. I make sure that your client, if he meets the requirements, we can apply for exemption. A very important thing within the tax number, and this can sound confusing, but then once you know it's the address on that tax number cannot be the same address that from the home you're selling.
I have that question all the time.
So it's very confusing for people because they say, well, but that's the home I'm living. That's what I live. I say yes, but you cannot apply to exemption because the law says you're going to be selling your home. So you cannot be having your tax number, which is where you can generate income from, in the same place that you live, because that means that's your business place. That address has to be your business place. But people say, well, I don't have a business, especially foreigners. They say, I don't have a business. Like, how can I use another address? I always tell them, this is what we do it. We can use the address of if you're purchasing a home. Like if you're purchasing another home, we can use that other address. Because
so you need to file for that change of address as well. That's very valuable. A lot of people don't know that.
But you have what I tell people all the time. Like you just tell us first. Like if you know you're selling your home in 5-6 months or in a year,
so you
should just plan in advance, so you won't encounter. So you can deduct the maximum your capital.
And another question I have for you: what's the best way to apply for residency? as a Canadian or American citizen?
You have to start the process in your own country. So if you're Canadian, you have to just look for your local consulate. If you're American, you have to look also for your local consulate. And then what you do is you just give them a call and tell them you buy a property in Mexico, or you're thinking to you just bought it and you wanted to spend time here. If you're retired, you always have to aim for the permanent residency.
Right.
Sometimes in the consulate they tell you, no, you need to go first, do the temporary, and I would say no. Just if you're retired, you qualify to go for the permanent.
Which is what type of visa? It's the H. There's a number.
Not anymore.
So okay.
The numbers
Right.
people have the FM2, FM3 idea that doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
We have
So it's
temporary resident or permanent resident.
Okay.
That changed in 2014. So before it used to be FM2, FM3, FM1. We don't have those categories anymore. Now you have it. You're a permanent resident or you're a temporary resident.
Now, I have this case that I want to talk to you, that I want to put it here on the table. I have this couple, one is Mexican, the other is from the States, okay? So they asked me if they have to, how that works, if they need to get the trust, or they are like, well, I'm married to a Mexican, so we shouldn't have the trust. So could you please tell us?
So is there a difference in the process?
Yes.
Yeah, the process is the same. I mean, sometimes, and I have a lot of that too. It happens because it's Puerto Vallarta. You know, an American guy fell in love with a Mexican woman, a Mexican woman fell in love with an American woman. You know, it's here, it happens here, right? So you have two options. Sometimes people come and tell me, well, I don't want to pay the trust, so I want to put in the name of my girlfriend or boyfriend or husband, and I always tell them, you can, but you have you have to know that that person will be the owner of your property. So in the case tomorrow you break up and something, you won't be able to get that property because that property belongs to that person that you are in a relationship with.
Right.
So I always advise them to just create a trust. The process will be the same. The only difference is that 50% of the trust we will need to get a permit from. That will be if that's the share. Because in the trust you can choose your percentage. So let's say I want to have 70% of the trust and you 30%, you can do that. I mean,
That's very important.
You have to choose. You can choose the percentage of the trust. If you want, let's say you find your boyfriend, your girlfriend, and you said, well, I want to share with him, but I don't want to give him 50%. I want to give him only 20%.
20%.
You can give only 20% of the percentage of the trust. So, but what you have to do is, for that percentage that you own as a foreigner, you need to get a permit from Foreign Affairs.
Okay.
You will need to get a permit from Foreign Affairs. When you have decided what percentage, you just have to call us, and we will. I usually have a meeting with clients. With your clients, I usually meet with them. If they are not in the country, I have a conference call and explain them what's the situation or how they can.
I have a question. So when you have mom and dad in their 40s and 50s and they come here to buy a home, can you add beneficiaries to the trust?
Yeah, you can.
Sons,
You can put as many beneficiaries as you want. I have people who have put sometimes 10 or 12 in the percentage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it can be a bank trust / will.
Yeah. Actually, this is very interesting that you asked that because I tell that to foreigners or clients when they are asking me, because they said they think that this contract is just for Americans or for foreigners or Canadians or Europeans, and I said no. This is a Mexican figure. It's a legal figure. There is no legislation, and Mexicans can create trust. Actually, a lot of Mexicans, people don't know that, but a lot of Mexicans, rich Mexicans, they use the trust as a means of for succession matters and for security matters. Because the security matters means nobody knows the property is under your name, because if you go and look at the public registry, the property will appear under the bank's name.
Right.
And so if I am somebody who is well known or something, I don't want people to know my business, I just put it in the trust. So people privacy, security reasons, and people will just put the trust, and then they can choose as many beneficiaries as they want.
Okay. If you were to advise new property owners or people that are looking to buy, what would be the top advice of things not to do?
The first one that I would say to people is like, don't listen to what people say unless they're a lawyer. Like if they're a real estate lawyer, go to a specialist.
Yes.
Yeah, because I have a lot of that all the time. Well, I heard, and I'm like, well, I cannot help you with what you heard. Like if somebody told you that, and if you know, yeah, it's just people that speak about experience. But I always tell people, your case is unique. Every transaction is unique. So whatever worked for that person, it might not be your case.
Yeah.
It might not be work for you. So we have to look at every transaction as a unique transaction.
Sure.
So
That's
sometimes
good.
whatever happened to me or to my friend, it's probably not the same that it's happening to me. So that's what I would
Go to a
say.
specialist.
Yeah. Go to a specialist and talk. Just get the advice, because otherwise, from friends, from the internet, or from Facebook,
The taxi driver.
Well,
sometimes
Facebook
you
is
don't
very
know.
popular. That I hear, I see all those comments like I need this, blah 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 blah, and people start to. I mean,
it's so
it's
funny. They rely on what
Yeah.
other people say or what other people's past experiences were, and
Yes.
then they base their belief on that.
But that's a good way. What he said, each case is
It's
unique,
No, and I understand people need that. Like they want to. Oh, I heard it. And even when I tell them something, they say, "Well, I heard," and I was well, I cannot really help you with what you heard.
Exactly.
Like I'm telling you what I do know and what my experience. This is it. This is what I would do here. But I always tell them that it is your decision.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, thank you for coming
You're
and
welcome.
share
My
your
pleasure.
knowledge with us. Thank you, Alex, for
having me.
this time with me, and I hope that all this information is been very helpful for you. And over here, you're gonna find out more information about Orlando. If you really want to know more about real estate law, or if you're looking for a closing coordinator, you know where you can contact him. And if you're looking a person, a company that helps you to manage your property, to help you with bookings, Alex, he can help you with all those things. And if you want to know more about real estate, if you want to find your investment property or your full-time residence around the bay, from Mismaloya to Punta de Mita, you know that you can call me, you can contact me. So thank you so much, and I really hope that you enjoyed. And if you have any question, let us know. And if you want to know, if you have a topic that you want us that we talk, please let me know. You know my email, and I'm going to be very excited and very happy to share that information with you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Que lo vas empezando vas empezando a crear.
Claro, la verdad creo que se dio como que bien orgánica toda la
Sí, no,
conversación.
eso es lo bueno, porque somos tres personas de diferente rama y de repente uno escucha algo, tiene una concepción y le pregunta, oye, esto, y como que no lo estás esperando y dices, no, pues sí, porque si fueran dos personas del mismo, ya sabes, la problemática